Welcome to In the Middle, a podcast on Christianity in the Middle East, where we explore questions of history, religion, culture, and policy that affects the ancient and indigenous Christian communities of the Middle East. I recently had the opportunity to sit down with Mr. Thomas Abraham, a Lebanese-American business leader, philanthropist, and humanitarian. Mr. Abraham also serves as chairman of the board at the Anthony R. Abraham Foundation and advisory board member at In Defense of Christians. Together, we discussed the Christian heritage of Lebanon and got a glimpse into the important work and impact of the Anthony R. Abraham Foundation. So, without further ado, thanks for joining the conversation and welcome to In the Middle. Mr. Abraham, thanks for joining us in the middle. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. It's great to have you here. It's great to have you in town. I know you come to D.C. quite frequently. You were in town yesterday for the IDC Capitol Hill Advocacy Day 2024. We walked around Capitol Hill. We met with a few members of Congress, staff. We talked about some pretty important issues. So it was great to have you today and have you on the podcast at In Defense of Christians.
Well, it's a pleasure being here. And of course, the work that you're doing is very important to what we believe in. And we would not have wars. We would not have all this chaos in the world if there was more love.
Absolutely. And that was our message yesterday. And you articulated that quite well in many of our meetings. It's about love and the love that a community occupied by or lived in by Christians usually has a greater capacity to show that love. And should Christians disappear from the Middle East, that diversity and that special something, that spark, would no longer be present. So that's a very important message to get across. You've been a great supporter and friend of In Defense of Christians for many years. So we appreciate all you do for us. Our work would not be possible but for you, of course, but also the Anthony R. Abraham Foundation, of which you are the president and chairman of the board. Tell us a little bit about the foundation, what the background is, and what the mission is.
Well, my parents, Anthony and Genevieve Abraham, founded the foundation as a vehicle to be able to get back to the local community and also as part of our commitment to give back to our heritage. We are Lebanese. I was adopted from an orphanage in Beirut. My parents had adopted 3 kids in the United States and 2 from Lebanon. And I was very blessed to be able to be brought into a family that had a lot of passion and love for their country. My father was a big patriot, very much loved what America gave him. And also he's a big supporter of his heritage, the Lebanese heritage, and of course our churches, our Maronite Church, our Melkite churches, Greek Orthodox. He believed that through the unity of our faiths, our different faiths, not only just Christian faiths, but all faiths, that's a vehicle by which families would be united, by the communities would show their heritage and their traditions and their love and faith and their religion. So that's a very important part of the essence and the fiber of America. What differentiates us from a lot of other countries is that we are driven by our faiths and our religions that help us unite as not only as individuals to our connection with God, but also as a community and how we act and interact with providing humanitarian services for those that are in need.
Outstanding. Yeah, that's a big drive of your personal work as well as the work of the foundation. You do a lot of projects that you are very much involved with, both here in the United States and the West, as well as in Lebanon, to strengthen and preserve those communities. One thing I'm very interested in, given your background, your personal background, having lived in and been adopted in Lebanon, came to the United States as a young child, was that interest to give back to those in your homeland in Lebanon something you always had within you, or something you developed over the years as you grew, saw the world? How did that work out growing up?
Well, growing up and watching my parents basically open their house to all different types of individuals who were looking for support quietly, which is what my parents were all about. They did not profess publicly the kind of services or individuals or organizations they supported. They were active very quietly in the community. So learning that and also having that sense of heritage and knowing that I was adopted and that had the opportunity to go back to Lebanon as a young child at the age of 12 and being able to relive those moments of when I was there and participate in understanding the value of our heritage. That really was kind of the it's in your blood. They say if you're Lebanese, you're always Lebanese. And I have a joke with my friends. I said, when I take you to a Lebanese restaurant, if you go there 3 times, you become an honorary Lebanese. And they get it because the food drives a sense of heritage and being in a place that's so special and beautiful. And I think that our history and our heritage, our Lebanese heritage, is very special.
I totally agree. One of the biggest messages that we at IDC are always pushing out there is the fact that Lebanon is very different. Lebanon, by its nature, is that of a bridge between East and West. Of course, it's an Eastern country, no doubt, in its heritage and its background, but it is also Western in the sense that it's a progressive society. It has a history of being sort of the beacon, the lighthouse of the Middle East and also the world around it, because for many decades and even centuries before that, it was considered the Paris of the Middle East for its forward thinking, for its fashion and metropolitan atmosphere, banking, and so on and so forth. Today, that status, that very special and important part of Lebanon's character is threatened, right? An economic collapse and crisis of historic proportions, unfortunately, which drives a security issue, which drives a humanitarian issue. They're all interconnected and interwoven, which makes the problem that much stickier and tougher, more perplexing to come up with a fix for. What kind of work do you, as well as the foundation, do? Big or small, right? It's a huge problem, but what kind of involvement do you have in seeing to the continuation, the prosperity in Lebanon today?
Well, I say in the midst of chaos, focus on those institutions that empower people's lives and make a difference. And if you just do that, you're doing as much as you can. And that brings, a sense of hope, brings a sense of comfort knowing that other people care about you in your situation in Lebanon. And so those institutions in Lebanon that we've embraced, the Beirut Marathon Association, which basically preaches that through running and unity of all nationalities and religions in Lebanon, running together in a marathon unites the country. We strip away, any sense of discrimination of who we are and what religion, et cetera, et cetera. We come together under that umbrella of the marathon as one country under one flag, under the colors of red, white and green. And so, it becomes patriotic in the sense that for once in that one day that we get together and 45,000 people come together and run in a marathon for peace, love, and hope in Lebanon. So the Beirut Marathon Association is very important to me. I'm a marathon runner. And I think that through sports is a great vehicle to bring people together and promote it. From an education point of view, we support the Lebanese American University, AUB. So we think through the universities, especially universities in Lebanon that really have a sense about bringing people from all nationalities in the Middle East together for the first time, where they're able to mingle and take away the restrictions of what they're used to at their homelands that basically paint a different picture about it. I think universities allow students to become familiar with who they are as individuals and not the labels that are put on people by what church are you, what part of the country are you from, et cetera, et cetera. The questions are, what's your favorite hobby? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite band? What's your favorite, singer or actor? Those are the things that bring people together, and the topics are more about how do we unite our common love and passion for things under the arts, under sports. So for me, and the Anthony R. Abraham Foundation, what we do is we invest in those institutions that we believe that actually provide the opportunities for individuals to really become who they are as a person and not who people want to label them as, and so I think that's really important that we take the labels away and we provide individuals the opportunity to become fully engaged in who they can become and what they can bring to society.
Absolutely, yeah. In Lebanon, if there's anything that the Lebanese have always done right, it's education. I saw the figure somewhere, and I believe it's totally believable that Lebanon per capita has the most universities and institutes of higher education more than anywhere in the Middle East. That's Lebanon, and that's totally believable. I see that. My father came from Lebanon as a young man, and as I was growing up, he always told me of the priority the Lebanese and Lebanese society placed on education. You mentioned sports. You mentioned the marathon. Sports truly is a universal language. It unites everybody. It literally and figuratively provides a level playing field from which people can interact and compete and that sort of thing. But speaking of sports, I noticed you're wearing a pretty cool jacket, the U.S. Olympic team jacket. There's got to be a cool story behind that. I would love to hear it.
Yeah, so, years ago, I was approached in Miami as the chairman of the Anthony R. Abraham Foundation. We were approached, would we support the United States Olympic and Paralympic Foundation in their efforts to basically promote the U.S. teams. And they came to us with a very specific proposal that had to do with sponsoring a pilot program that would provide the opportunity with kids with disabilities that are sitting on the sidelines in the high schools in Miami, South-Dade County. So we looked at that program. We said, wow, that's something we really want to engage in. We think it's very important. So we committed to doing that. And then COVID comes along and shuts that down for 2.5 years. And then they came back to me and said, get out to Colorado, would you, and meet with us. We got a new proposal. So I go out there, and they're proposing to me that they want to launch the first time ever in the United States history Paralympic Games. They want to basically build a Paralympic blind soccer team.
When you first told me blind, months ago we were talking, you mentioned blind soccer. It blew my mind because blind soccer almost sounds counterintuitive, but go ahead and please explain that.
Yeah, so I looked at them and I said, you guys are crazy. I said, no, really. I said, what is the sport? And they go, no, Tom, it's blind soccer. I said, really? You got me flying all the way out here?
Right.
And I said, come on. And then there's a voice in a crowd, and then she says, Molly, this young lady says, hi, Tom, it's Molly. And I looked over, and Molly worked at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which my father was one of the co-founders with Danny and a bunch of other great guys in building St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Molly Quinn, she was the head of development for sports at St. Jude at that time. And I brought the U.S. Olympic Foundation people there to learn about how to raise funds and stuff. So Molly said, hey, no, it's real. We're going to invest in building a blind soccer team since we're hosting the Olympics in 2028. So with that said, I analyzed the conversation and said, wow, we have the World Cup coming to the U.S. in 26. We have the Inter Miami soccer team there. We have Messi and we have Beckham, the two greatest players, some of the two greatest players in soccer, or as they call it, football in Europe. And I said, what a great opportunity to take advantage of that, take this initiative to launch the first ever blind soccer team for the U.S. And use that as an initiative to basically build a platform to showcase the value of people that have visual impairments and/or are blind. And it's just not about sports for me. It's about how do you impact not only the individual, how do you take that opportunity and look at the science that's out there, the technologies that are out there? How do you impact the individual families and change their perspective in their lives and dealing with a young person who might have a disability, visually impaired or blind? So for me, it's more about taking the combination of all those opportunities, putting them together, and then using the Paralympic Games that are coming in 2028 in the Olympics, and also using the World Cup as two vehicles to basically put a global spotlight on the value of people that are visually impaired or blind.
So in 2028 and in 2026, the World Cup and in the Olympics respectively, or the Paralympics respectively, will that be the debut of the U.S. blind soccer team? Or
yeah, the debut of the U.S. soccer team. Basically, the official Olympic debut will be in 2028 when the Olympics come to the United States and will be featured in Atlanta.
I see. Okay. Well, very good. What's the status as of right now? They're still putting things together, putting a team together?
Well, right now we actually have a team. We have players that we've been fielding from around the country. We're setting up small units across the country where we're engaging the local communities to help support us with a grassroots operations to basically provide facilities and training centers to invite individuals that are visually impaired or blind to come and train and learn the sport of blind soccer. So there's a process in Miami. We're working with the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind, amazing organization. We've been sponsoring for over almost 48 years. They're engaged with us in a very powerful way to help build the grassroots part of the organizations. We're working with the school, the Miami-Dade County School Board and the school system to basically engage with them through the Miami Lighthouse and identifying those individuals that might want to learn how to play blind soccer. We're engaging with the, not only the school boards, but we're also engaging with the local communities and the cities within Miami-Dade County to see how we can get them engaged in helping us support the launch of a grassroots initiative to promote blind soccer in the United States.
That's outstanding, and I'd encourage all of our viewers to Google it, check it out, see how it all works. But if you could give them a really quick explanation, how does blind soccer work? What's that all about?
Well, it's really an amazing sport. I just came from the Olympics and the Paralympics, and I got a chance to watch some of the top teams in the world who've been around for over 20 years actually play the sport. So the field is actually not as long. The Goldies are not blind. Mm-hmm. The ball that they use is a heavier ball than the soccer ball that they use in professional soccer, but it has ball bearings inside, so the players can actually listen to the ball as they're kicking it. The players basically drive the ball down the field. And they maneuver it and they kick it and they position it in places they want. There's panels on the side of the fields. The field is not as wide that provide the players an opportunity to know where the boundaries are. They use the panels actually to kick the ball against, and they use the panels to drive the ball down the field sometimes. It's an amazing sport to watch. Go on YouTube and type in blind soccer. You get an opportunity to watch it. Hopefully, you'll get to see some of the stuff that was happening at the Paralympics this summer in Paris, where I had an opportunity to participate and watch different teams around the world. And by the way, congratulations to the French. They won the gold medal this year, which was a big surprise for everybody because usually the Argentinians and the Colombians and the the other teams are the ones that usually get all the medals. But we'll have an opportunity to at least field a team in 2028, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to stand on the podium and be good enough to actually make it to the final rounds.
Excellent. Well, congratulations to them. And one thing, I can't claim that I know what it's like to be blind, obviously, but I am hearing impaired. And I'm a firm believer in when God takes away one sense, whether it's your sight, whether it's your hearing, I'm a firm believer in the fact that He heightens another sense. So, in the case of blindness, or certainly in the case of deafness, it heightens my ability anyway to see things and to see things in a different way and more acutely and be more discerning with my vision. So I can only imagine, or I can probably guess that it would do the same for someone who's visually impaired, that they're able to rely more acutely on their hearing. So that's certainly a lot, quite interesting. But you also had the opportunity to run a marathon in Paris just recently during the Olympics. Tell us a bit about that. How did you get that opportunity?
That was actually it's pretty interesting. My friend, who's an American citizen now, but he's Jordanian. He basically called me one day and he said to me, "Hey, Tom, there's going to be the IOC, International Olympic Organization, basically has created for the first time an opportunity to host an event that becomes an official Olympic sanctioned event for non-Olympians. Yep. And it's going to be a marathon in Paris. And that marathon will be run at night. It will be the same course that I'm running in the morning." Yeah. And he said, I put your name in there to see, because it's you had to register and see if your name got pulled. And since you've run all these marathons and you got the Abbott medal for running in the top marathons in the world, maybe you'll get selected. So I'm having dinner with a friend 2-3 months later, and I get this email at dinner, and my friend says to me, "What is that?" And I said, "I don't know. I can't read it. It's in French." So I said, "Can you read it?" And he says to me, Mr. Abraham, you just got selected to run in the Paris Marathon at the Olympics on August 10th, 2024. I thought it was a joke.
Right.
I thought maybe somebody was hacking the internet. I said, oh, really? Yeah, right. But, as we dug into it, we found out, wow, yeah. So I had 2 months to train for a marathon that usually takes 6 months. And I trained 5 days a week for 2 months to get in shape. And I have to tell you that it was the most spectacular race that I ever done in my life. The running at night, 10 o'clock at night was when I started, finished at 4 in the morning. I got to see the city. The crowds were fantastic, cheering us on, running through the streets and seeing the Eiffel Towers, running by the Louvre, running out to Versailles. I mean, it was really amazing to see the crowds out there. Now, the one thing that struck me was that I actually had to do some elevation climbing, which is 600 feet. And coming from Miami, there's no elevations there. So I trained a little bit for that. But I have to tell you, I was blessed. I was able to finish the race. I felt great. And a little surprise today, by the way, I'm meeting with my friend who actually is one of the top 50 runners in the world that finished the marathon as an Olympian that morning. He said to me, Tom, he goes, I've been training for 10 years. And I got into the Olympics, and it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. But I'll be in the top 50 runners in the world, but I won't get a medal. Right. And he says, you're going to get a medal. And I said, well, don't worry about that. When I run, I'm going to find out how I can get an extra medal. And so, by the way, I just want to let you know, this is the medal I got at the Olympics. And this medal actually has the seal of the Olympic logo on it, which is amazing that they actually provided this for non-Olympians. Right. And this was a special medal that was designed, that was given to runners that participated in the special race that the IOC sanctioned. So I'm very proud that I was able to not only run, but I represented, that run was dedicated to the United States Paralympic blind soccer team. So when I crossed that finish line, it was on their behalf that I was running on behalf of the United States Paralympic blind soccer team.
That's outstanding. A huge congratulations to you. That's a huge feat that not many people can say that they've accomplished. This will probably be the closest I ever get to an Olympic medal. I can promise you that. Look at that. Beautiful. That's a beautiful medal. God bless you. That's 26.2 miles for the sake of our viewers who don't know. 26. Now, I'm not going to ask how old you are, but I'm 40 years old, and I've never run a marathon. I'm not much of a runner, but I mean, what a feat, what an accomplishment for you. And I know this is not the first. You're an avid runner, is my understanding.
Well, I'm not a professional runner,
right,
and I actually run for the benefit of charities. So I think there's a different mindset when you're doing that. I think that you have a sense about the purpose of why you're running is not to figure out this is going to be your fastest time. But the purpose is that every step I take is dedicated to those individuals that are suffering. It's dedicated to hopefully give hope to those individuals that are watching what I'm doing and how I'm dedicating my efforts on their behalf to let them know that anything is possible in life and never give up. And to believe in yourself and to believe in the value of your own abilities and not of those that say you can't do something, but do it because you want to do it and find a way and a solution to do that. And I think that mindset helps us, get through life. And when I train for a marathon, I was joking with somebody, when I run, I look for the next tree. I put my eye on it and say, I just got to get to that tree. And I got to get to the next tree and the next tree. And that's what helps you get through that 26.2 miles. And when you're finished, you look and you say, wow, how the hell did I do that? It's like, really? You just ran 26.2 miles? And
that's a great philosophy for life. Just chase that next tree.
Chase that next tree. But, I want to just say for those that are, watching this podcast that, chase your dreams. Don't let anybody get in the middle of your dreams. Believe in yourself. Understand that the impossible is possible. Because those that don't believe in the possible or the impossible, those aren't the people you want to be talking to. You want to be talking to yourself. And you want to figure out what solutions or what problems you have to solve to find and capture that dream that you're believing in. And I tell you, it works. And of course, I think the most important thing is that you have to have your faith, whatever faith that is. And I'm going to tell you for the first time, I haven't even told you this, but I stood for 3 hours prior to the run. And then I had my AirPods on, ready to turn them on as I was running. And then when I started the race, the first 5 miles, I couldn't hear anything because the crowds were like screaming crazy. It was amazing. But when the crowds got quiet, I didn't hear my music. So I figured, okay, there's no music. I had my GoPro in one hand. I said to myself, well, you know what? I'm going to say a rosary. So I was passing the GoPro back and forth, and I'm saying the rosary to myself. And I don't know why I decided to do that, but I said, you know what? I'm going to dedicate this race to you, to the Blessed Mother. And, so I'm running the marathon, and, miles and miles are going on. And then finally, at some point, my music came back on. And it was low music. It was crazy. But, I found by saying the rosary at that time that I found peace. And you know what? It was like crazy. I'm going up this 600-foot elevations. I'm not feeling any pain. And when I come down and when I finish the race, it's the first time, and this is the truth, the first time in my life that I finished a race and I didn't have any of the after effects. I was like, what's going on here? So, I really want to say that, sometimes, you reach out, you don't know why, but you reach out to what makes you feel confident in your faith. And if you do that, sometimes you'll be surprised of the results. And I got to tell you, I was shocked and I was pleased. And it kind of was like a sign to me that whatever you're doing and the reason you're doing it is it has a resonance in those that are watching you from above. So I wanted to share that because, I usually don't do that, talk about my faith. But, it was a surprise for me. That one consideration that I made to do that I was blessed at the end with a surprise that I never expected.
That's absolutely inspiring, and thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I know it's definitely a personal thought of yours. So I do have to ask, what's next for the foundation? What do you have coming up in the future?
Well, actually, I'm going to to San Francisco, and I'm going up to the south of San Francisco, and I'm going to be doing a bike ride with Best Buddies, which is founded by Anthony Shriver. His mother was Eunice Shriver, who founded Special Olympics, which we sponsor. And I'm going to be doing a bike ride with Anthony. I've done a lot of bike rides with him. So we'll be, we've been supporting Best Buddies for a long, long time. And I'll be out there with my family and my son, and we're going to be riding in that ride. Again, to showcase that no matter what age you are, get out there and make a difference. Do something. Don't complain about it's impossible, but make an effort, whatever it is. There's a simple thing in life, and I tell this to my kids and I tell this to anybody. Small gestures of kindness are the most important thing you can do. Be kind to people. Open a door and smile. Say thank you. Acknowledge people that are working in environments that are really tough, and just let them know that you respect what they're doing and you appreciate that. I think that goes a long way, and if we could just incorporate that as part of our lifestyle, be kind to other people. That's part of the process of being, having a loving sense of, comfort, that you want to share something special with somebody. And so I would say to you, make an effort to be kind to people,
Excellent. Well, that's a great message for the audience. And if you want to take a moment to actually share with the audience how they can learn more about the Thomas R. Abraham Foundation, and
you're going to get me in trouble there.
How's that, Thomas?
Excuse
me. Here
he is. He's trying to get me in trouble with the board of directors. It's the Anthony R. Abraham Foundation. I just happen to be the chairman, but I tell you, I give a lot of respect and a lot of thanks to our board, who are so much on the ground and grounded in supporting all the initiatives that are out there that really make a difference and empower people's lives. If it wasn't without the board of directors who really believe in all these projects that we invest in, we wouldn't be doing the things we're doing today. So, I just the figurehead. And, I'm able to basically be, a representative, physical representative out there on behalf of our board of directors of the Anthony R. Abraham Foundation. And I just want to say again to our board of directors, thanks for allowing us to do all these amazing things and to empower all these institutions that are making a difference in people's lives.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, Anthony is your dad, of course, after whom the foundation is named. So,
right.
So you are correct. Could you share the website if people are interested in visiting?
Yeah, just go to abrahamfoundation.com and please, look in there and see what we're up to. I also would say that, if you want to get a sense about my personal involvement and my sister's involvement, some of the other things is that, we have thomasanthonyabraham.com. That will give you a really big oversight of all the different locations that we're are involved in and the sites that we have up and running in support of all the different initiatives.
Excellent. Well, Mr. Abraham, thanks for joining us in the middle. We look forward to seeing more of you. We'll definitely be seeing you tonight for a dinner. And anytime you're in town, please let us know. Stop by, and it's always a pleasure seeing you.
Well, it's a real pleasure being here with you guys, and greatly appreciate the work that you're doing on behalf of those that are, being prosecuted around the world, that are not able to live their religion and practice the religion around the world. So thank you for your efforts.
Thank you.
Godspeed.